Hi, and thank you for joining Packet Trap MSP, the impact of multimedia and the networks. This is July 23rd, 2012. My name is Mike Plotkin, one of the system consultants here, and I will be taking you through a quick 30-minute overview of the impact of multimedia, just a kind of comprehensive general overview, and then some of the features of Packet Trap MSP that will allow you to, first of all, troubleshoot the behavior of your complex network, as well as remediate certain specific issues when it comes to multimedia and increased traffic flow, for instance. And we'll cover a couple of scenarios as much as we can get to. This is in no way intended to be an in-depth conversation about all the breadth of protocols, synchronization, software application, and the way, Windows domain servers and whatnot, how they integrate within the network. This is the simple overview of our network protocols, and we can get into more detailed discussions if towards the end. If you will have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. If we don't have the time, we can always correspond via email, or you can give us a call and we can chat more about hypothetical scenarios or anything that you would like to discuss further. Okay. Just a quick note, please visit our website to learn more. There's instructional videos, as this video will be available online as well to all the IT MSP service providers out there. You can learn much more on our website by visiting packettrap.com and download our solution for a 21-day free trial. So what is the network effect? I kind of want to just wrap that around. I know everybody understands this, but in economics and in business, the network effect is the total effect that one user of a good, this being the traffic, the pipe size, whether they're streaming YouTube or running an application such as VoIP, utilizing a phone call or answering support calls or whatnot, the value that product has to other people. So when multiple people are using the same value, which is the network, that has an impact on the performance. It degrades the optimization that you would hope to have from a static hierarchical network as such. Now, this also demonstration is not going to go into replacing LANs or what the future of the network holds. We want to keep it simple around the existing networks today and how we can better improve them and monitor them for increased operational efficiency. To maximize the utilization of our existing networks and where we can improve, to where we can make those improvements for our customers so they can stay innovative and ahead of the curve. As we know today, technology is leading the new workhorse in innovation. So we want to provide our customers, or you can provide your customers with these aspects. Multimedia is a large file, and it's very sensitive to delay and loss of data. Voice more so than video, but there's a lot of things that we want instantaneous, instant gratification. We want to be able to turn on our computers and view a webinar, or for instance, a lot of companies these days are allowing their employees to work from home. So being able to access the network, being able to stream live conversations, whether you're using Second Life or another program, be able to communicate across the world is very important. And as we can see, that enterprise video conferencing has become the standard. As such, this webinar right here is utilizing a piece of that multimedia infrastructure to communicate with you across, multiple time zones, boundaries, borders, and what have you. So a couple of things I'm going to talk about here are a few steps to prevent and react to network failures and utilization. One of the built-in tools that we have is Traffic Jam. Traffic Jam allows you to bombard the network with a high degree of packets to determine the impact, the behavior of the network as if this was a real case scenario. What this tool does, again, it will bombard the network, and you can measure the packet loss, the bit rate errors, the utilization, the throughput of it, across what you're adding to the network, and you can see where the optimal points are on the network to be able to determine if an XYZ application will be able to live in harmony with the rest of all the applications that people are running on the network, or will you need to make certain improvements in hardware or the LAN or the WAN side to allow for this application to work seamlessly without interruption to the customer, so that other applications don't suffer as a result. Business critical applications. Traceroute is another tool built into the product that allows you to display the path of the network device. So how many hops does it take to get out to the internet? And how efficient are those hops? Is it timing out? Is there a great amount of latency? So these two tools allow you to be kind of preventive when you're either inheriting a new network infrastructure or you are trying to make improvements in the existing infrastructure to bring on board new ways of doing business, whether it's a VoIP infrastructure that you're trying to harmonize or a software application that's running in the cloud that you're trying to harmonize. These two tools will allow you to get a better understanding, a more detailed, thorough understanding of how the network behaves if a given scenario is presented to it. The other component that PacketTrap has is baselining, to be able to create an average to alert off not a fixed value where anomalies can always occur on the network, but allow you to create alerts off a baseline, an average, so to speak, of that customer's IT infrastructure. So if XYZ company is highly utilizing their network output between the hours of 7 and 10 p.m., you want to be able to know this. You want to be able to know the network behavior so that you can optimize the quality of service when you upgrade to a new network infrastructure or make changes to the existing network infrastructure, whether it's through multitasking or any other configuration that you can do to better enhance the operational efficiency for that customer. Increase the switch capacity and automate adjustments as needed. So as we know, just to cover a couple of things, what we're talking about here is the increase in data storage in business critical applications in network architecture that needs to become more nimble so as businesses, as they adapt, can be more organic and businesses can bring on and increase their revenue without increasing their costs. Having a convoluted network is very hard to manage and is very time consuming and thus is very expensive. So common problems with the network that we experience are cable problems, connectivity issues, so configuration file changes, excessive collisions, and any network we know has collisions, so that's fine, but we're looking for excessive collisions. Software issues, so synchronization, timing, and duplicate IPs, which is a byproduct of DNS. Some of the steps that you can utilize PacketTrap to react to these failures would be off CRC errors, token ring errors, to provide us with information on signal strength, collisions, frame length, and whatnot. This will help us get to the segment that we need to know. It will also alert us whether it is a network card or it is the actual cable itself that's having the problem. So we might need to replace a cable or put a hub in stream so that the packets will be relayed. Interface, link, router status. Those are also issues to take into account that PacketTrap can alert off to increase the efficiency of those disparate networks. And most customers might have a Linksys and a 3Com in the same place. And not everybody is using harmonized vendors. Not everybody has the same resources. Hardware failures, whether it be a RAID failure or heat signature, temperature, we need to be alerted off those because those can greatly impact the performance of the router or switch. With our dashboard and network mapping, once you receive those errors, you will be able to firstly look at the whole IT infrastructure in one single glance to understand where the impact is happening and where I need to allocate my resources, whether it be technician's time or remote control into what segment of the network to fix the problem. And then I'll go over traffic flow and remote control in a second. So right now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Packet Trap MSP and highlight some of the issues or some of the things that I talked about previously on this webinar. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So let's take a real-world scenario. As we know, the Olympics are coming up. There's all sorts of chatter that's going to be going through the network. Now, we don't have to take the Olympics as an example. We had, FIFA soccer just around the corner previously last month. We have a lot of, and I'm using sports as a context, but I mean, we understand that we're dealing with, businesses, so there might be other applications such as VoIP, and I want to go back to that because that is becoming a real critical application in customers as they align their costs and everything that VoIP does with all the texting, support phone calls, everything can be done from one screen in one single bill as well. So a typical scenario will come up. You receive an alert, whether it's a configuration file change or an interface traffic status alert. This will notify that the device is having problems. First thing we want to go ahead and look at when receiving the alert is obviously take a look at the alert and what the problem is, whether it's a latency issue, whether it's a networking issue, whether it's maybe it could be an application error alert, something like that that will notify you that the domain controller is not working properly. Whatever that issue is, we want to go in here, and the customized dashboard will allow us to take a look at my system in a glance to maybe see where I can spot these trends, where I can see the network having problems, what interfaces are running high. Is there something out of the norm right here? We take a look at our dashboard here, and we try to figure it out to see where this might be coming from, what interface is utilizing the most traffic. Once we've identified a couple of problems, we can then jump into the device. And before jumping into the device, we might want to take a look at the network map to see from this customer where exactly are these issues occurring to, on what part of the subnet is this occurring on, what device do I need to maybe take a look at critically to see if I can fix something or renew something, restart something, change the configuration setting. So here we have our network mapping. Second as it loads. And again, every network is going to be a little different. Some people might still be dealing with 1 gig networks. Other people have moved on to an Ethernet 10 gig network. But just because it's 10 gig doesn't mean you're receiving 10 gigs of bandwidth data. Here. Go to the global map. Okay. So we're going to double click, take a look at, and I can see here that I have a couple of down connections. So users might be complaining that their networks are running slow, they can't even access their internet. So we want to go into this switch right here, double click on it, and see what alerts have been generated on this switch. Next thing I kind of want to cover is once we understand what alert, we can go into the switch, we want to isolate the network traffic. Just simply knowing that there is a lot of network traffic is not going to help us in trying to isolate who is utilizing this network traffic. For this, we're going to utilize our feature, traffic flow. We're going to go into the traffic flow module, and we're going to detect which applications are currently using the most bandwidth. We're going to look at the interface to see who is consuming all that traffic on the interface. And this will allow us to dive deeper and to try to isolate, diagnose the issue that we are having. So here I'm able to see what port certain applications are running on, what devices they're using, the protocol, number of packets, and I can look at this in a trend chart to show me a graphical display. So if I know that this issue occurred at 11:05, well, what was the traffic like at 11:05? And this will tell me right here. From there, I can drill down to the endpoint that's causing this and remote control into the device to fix the issue. The type of alerts that we would want to set up for this device, as I mentioned to you before, CRC errors, token ring errors. We want to know if the interface is up or down. We want to know if there's traffic on this interface, whether latency is high. All this on the UDP side, because UDP is unreliable. We want to go ahead and measure this from the interface level, and this will help us get to the root cause of certain problems, whether the device is down. That could be the simple issue that the device is just unresponsive. Power. You know, the power might have went out. We want to monitor that. One of the things that we can automate is if an interface if interface traffic is going up or down, we have a script that we can run to measure the available bandwidth for this particular site. And we would run an iPerf script from your PacketTrap server to the host to measure the available bandwidth. We can get the jitter up there. We can measure the bandwidth both ways so that we can see that, okay, if the bandwidth is 10 gigs, then the issue might be to the LAN. If it's not 10 gigs, well, why is it not 10 gigs? Is it something with the ISP that we need to isolate? Once we've established the issue, we understand what it is, what we're dealing with, and how to fix it, we can then remote control into this device straight from here. Whether this device is on our LAN or not on our LAN, we can access the web GUI to this device straight from PacketTrap console without having to RDP into the actual server. So you can see here, as the network impact gradually grows, or when you have bursts that you need to control, you want to be able to scale for those bursts. You want to be able to allow yourself that room for error to be able to respond in a proactive manner. So you don't want to have your available bandwidth to the point where if somebody launches an additional tab, it'll crash the whole network. So constantly monitoring the utilization, the throughput, any latency or a reduction in, or an increase, I should say, in packet loss or discards will alert you that there are growing trends that need to be looked at further on the customer's network. And by logging into the device straight from the interface saves you time from traveling to the customer, from knowing what type of device you're dealing with, what vendor you're dealing with, and you can do things remotely. So, in a quick overview, with PacketTrap MSP and with the advent of new multimedia technology, you will be able to better scale your existing customers' IT infrastructure, as well as initiate improvements where they're most needed. No one's asking to be a master of networking, and that would be too complex. But to try to simplify the way the network is set up, the architecture behind it, you first need to understand where the improvements need to be made. With PacketTrap, we can give you that granular level of understanding and be able to alert of degradations in the existing network or the new network so that you can isolate troubles and fix those as well. So it's to maximize the utilization of the link, the network as a whole itself. So I'm going to switch back to screen here. If anybody has any questions at this moment, feel free to please raise your hand or type them in. We'll take a couple of questions before we wrap up with our presentation here. Any kind of scenarios you would like to go over, I'll just wait. So a quick question somebody asked, can you measure jitter with iPerf? Yes, you can. iPerf has a command that you can measure the jitter, which jitter is a measurement that can aid in discerning, various kinds of efficiencies. In terms of voice is a good example of that. So diminishing the jitter will create better effects for voice over IP quality, as well as audio when you bundle them together in multimedia. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, any further questions, please visit our website, or you can contact myself or sales at packettrap.com and myself at mike.plotkin@quest.com. I'll be happy to answer any further questions that you guys might have regarding this webinar or the product as a whole. I hope you enjoyed the short demo on multimedia network infrastructure and how PacketTrap can be used to alleviate some of the issues and better prepare yourself for oncoming traffic. So good luck and look both ways. Thanks.